We've got 6 quick things chiropractors should know before advertising. My name's Gavin. I'm a CHS. Basically help chiropractors grow their practice, and we focus on the business side so that they can focus on being doctors. So I want to go ahead and share these 6 quick things that hopefully they're helpful if you decide to start advertising for your practice. So number 1, it's not a magic bullet. This is a little bit of tough love, but there are no such things in business. So I don't expect to turn on advertising and magically get flooded with patients. Like I've talked to some chiropractors, they're going to spend $150 on ads, maybe less, and all of a sudden they'll be packed. Their schedule will be full. Advertising doesn't work like that. In fact, I don't think anything works like that in business. So don't expect to just be able to turn on advertising or anything for that matter and magically get flooded with patients. You're going to have to stick with it long enough and test it enough until you can actually get it working, just like anything else in business. So number 2, it's a skill like anything else. It can take years to become really good at advertising. I mean, it took you years to become good at, becoming a chiropractor, right? And so it's the exact same thing where advertising is just a different skill. And so expect the money that you put towards it at first to be learning experience at, just kind of like how you would spend money on, say, a hobby or something like that. Don't expect an investment that you need a return from at first, right? So don't expect it to just be something, okay, I put money into this, I have to get a return from it. At the very beginning, you're not going to be doing any of that. It's just going to be money that you put towards learning experience so you can get good at advertising so that then you can get money later on. So if you plan on doing it yourself, do your research, put the time into getting good at it. Otherwise, borrow someone else's expertise. Maybe it can be us, maybe it can be someone else's. But either way, go ahead and make sure that you understand it's a skill, and it's probably going to take a little bit to get good at it. Number 3 is to budget enough for ads. The least amount of money I've ever seen anyone spend while getting a good return is about $300 per month. Like I was saying earlier, some chiropractors think they're going to spend $100, $150 a month, and they'll be flooded with patients. The only reason that $300 per month worked was because it was with a really good pre-tested, experienced ad campaign and ad manager. We ran it for them. We kind of know our stuff. We had tested this before. We knew it was going to work in their area for them. And that was also several years ago. So a lot of inflation has occurred since then. So it's probably that at the very least, probably more like $500 per month, possibly more. Again, that was because we knew what we were doing. So if you're not as good, or if you don't have as much experience, if the campaign is not as seasoned and it's going to work, then you'll probably need to spend more. Now, that being said, spending more isn't always the answer, right? So as this video, plan for probably about $500 to $1,000 per month in order to actually get a good return. More, and you're probably wasting money, and you just need to improve. Like that's the sign that you need to improve until you are sure that you're good enough, and then you're just spending more to get a further return. But like just spending more isn't the answer to bad ads. If your ads aren't working, you need to go ahead and fix those. But you still need to spend enough to make sure that your ads are working. So like I said, that's about the $500 to $1,000 per month. And so again, that's less, and you won't have enough data to know if it's working. So that's kind of the that's probably the sweet spot. As the time of this video is about $500 to $1,000 per month, and you'll know if your ads are working, and then you can scale up or possibly even scale down depending on your needs after that. So number 4 is to think of it as like a pipeline. You need to think of it as a pipeline or a funnel, and that'll help you to make sure you can actually fix it. And so people have to go through each stage of the process. So one of my professors all the way back in college, he talked about the aware, care, and dare. That was how he broke up the funnel. So first they have to be aware that you exist, then they have to care that you exist, and then 3, they have to dare to actually try your product or service. And so there are bottlenecks along the pipeline anywhere. And so you have to fix all of them in order for it to actually work, right? So they might be aware that you exist, but they might not care. And so then if they don't care, they're obviously not going to dare to try your product or service. So to go along with that, number 5, data is your friend. In order to know if your ads are actually working, you need to have data. And so you have to make sure that everything is connected and you're getting proper data, and actually in order to actually see the pipeline. Okay, so you want to make sure you learn the different terms. So I'll just give you the quick shorthand. The impressions is the number of times your ads have been seen. Total reach is the number of unique people who've seen those ads. I assume you might have 3 people who've seen your ads 10 times. So reach is 3 and impressions is 10. Clicks, these are usually from the ad or to the website or landing page. Sometimes it's to a form, right? That's what clicks are. Conversions are whatever your conversion metric is. This depends on the ads. Some of them it's calls, some of it's form submissions, right? It just kind of depends on what the exact ad platform is. Leads are the people you can contact to try to schedule an appointment. And so you might have people who convert from the ad into a form submission, and then they become a lead, right? So then you have their contact info, then you get the leads, and then after that you can actually try and get them into schedule an appointment and then to become customers, right? And so that's where sales customers comes in. The sales customers aren't always tracked by the ads. So sometimes the people who decide to come in and buy, the ads can't see those because you called them up, right? And the ads usually doesn't have any idea of whether you're calling people or whether they show up in person, and so that one can be kind of hard to know. And you might just kind of have to track that on the back end. But in general, reach and impressions are kind of your awareness, right? So that's, if you're going through the aware care dare, that's your awareness, and clicks and conversions, and then leads are your care. So that's, if people are starting to care, you exist. And then sales customers are if they dare to actually, come in and buy your service. And so those are kind of the three stages broken up into these different data metrics. And so that way you can look at each of these and say, okay, impressions are low, no one's seeing our ads. Or maybe clicks and conversions are low, people are seeing our ads, they're just not clicking. And so then you know what each of the process is, or what each of the stages are, and so where you can fix it. So number 6 is to know your numbers. This is extremely helpful to know how profitable your ads are being, if they are profitable at all. And so as an example, if we have a 10 patient visit average times just an average appointment price of like $50, then we make $500 per patient. And so if we get 10 new patients from Google ads, we make $5,000. And so if you spent $500, which usually you might spend $500 to get those 10 new patients, then you get a 10x return on your money, which is pretty good, right? A 10x return on any kind of investment would be pretty good. Again, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take you a little bit, but whenever you know your numbers, you can actually budget of what your break-even price. And so in this case, if we're spending $500, and we know that we're probably, again, this is, patient visit average, it's average, but if on average we make $500 per patient, then we know we'll probably break even if we just get one person. And so whenever we frame it like that, we know that, okay, if all we get is one person in that month that we spend $500 on ads, then we know we broke even, and we can keep spending money after that to continue to learn, continue to get better, and continue to improve. And so it's important to know this, so you're not just like looking at this and saying, okay, I got one patient, assuming that one patient is only one appointment. So if you only look at it as one patient, one appointment, it's $50, then you look at this like you lost $450, which again, if we take into account our patient visit average, we've broken even. And so it's important to know your numbers. Finally, if you would like help with anything like this, if you like to skip the months and years of learning, advertising and all this stuff in order to actually get advertising success, then let us help. So if you go to centralhealthsupply.com/ads, or I'll leave the link at the top of the description, we can get in touch, talk about what you're looking to do and see if we can help. And if we can't help, then at the very least, we'll give you some good free tips and free resources and a good direction to go, so that you can actually start growing. So again, if you'd like to if nothing else, if you'd like to just talk and see if we can help, go to centralhealthsupply.com/ads. And either way, I hope this is helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.